Welcome back, everybody. Mark with exoticcarplayplace. Thanks for coming back. Today we're going to talk about 4 of the best, most reliable 2018 BMWs that you can buy today. There's a lot of great cars out on the market. You want to make sure you get the right car for your dollars. So let's take a walk around and we're going to talk about the top 4 that I have listed. Let's go. So the first one on my list is actually this car right in front of me, the X1 with the 28i. So the XDrive28i, which represents the all-wheel drive version. Now, of course, this car has a newer engine. The old engine was the N20, and it's been replaced. Now the engine in here is the B48, which is actually an inline 4-cylinder twin-scroll turbo that produces about 220 horsepower and about 258 foot-pounds of torque. It has a transversely mounted motor, of course, driving all 4 wheels because it is the X-Drive. And the beauty thing here, because it's an X1, you would think that it's low scale, entry level, which it sort of is, but in the true BMW fashion, they do not chintz out. It's one of these vehicles that you get inside and initially it looks a little bit more basic, but when you really look around, it actually has a lot of great features chalked into it. I mean, you have the latest iDrive system, of course. You have things like the panoramic sunroof over here. This thing is just glorious here. Lots of room, lots of light in there for you and your guests. So reasonable wheel packages, of course, is always some great wheel options for this car. You've got the dual exhaust here, the colored handles. Look at these mirrors even. You've got the signal lights on the mirrors. Everything about this car reeks in higher quality. Nice LED headlights. Of course, they're not the adaptive, but that's fine. Nice spoiler. I mean, everything is definitely upscale and certainly represents the brand very well. And because it is entry level, and because it's using more of the basic drivetrain, the engine, you know, is not stressed out. So this car will run very well, very long, has great fuel economy, and so far represents great value, but as well appears to be very reliable. I mean, years will tell as years pass how reliable this new engine is for these cars, but so far, this seems to be a very reliable setup, and it happens to be great value at $40,000. The second most reliable BMWs on my list go to the 2 Series, and the 2 Series represent great value and actually brings drivers back to what made passionate drivers in the first place, and that was a smaller size, more sporting type of chassis, which you can now find in the 2 Series cars. So as you see here, we've actually got 2 versions. We've got the 240 and we've got the 230. The 230 represents the inline 4-cylinder twin-scroll engine that produces 248 horsepower, while the 240 is the straight 6 twin-scroll engine that produces 335 horsepower. So if you want 335 horse or you want the 2.5, you know, there's your difference. That's the difference between the 2 cars. Now, you can get these in all-wheel drive. Of course, you've got the X-Drive, or you can get them, and this one's an X-Drive as well, as you can see here. Just a little more hidden. So in the X-Drive, you represent the all-wheel drive. Now the X-Drive is typically tied and associated with the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now if you want the rear-wheel drive version of this, so you're only driving the back wheels of these cars, that can be had with a 6-speed manual gearbox. So depending on your driving preferences, you're looking more of the sporty car, you typically associate the, a 240 with a manual 6-speed gearbox. That'd be a great little sports car. If you want something that's more of a nice little comfortable driver, that's more practical for poor weather, you can get yourself a 230, which is a very, very reliable little setup. Of course, all-wheel drive with the automatic. Very drivable, daily usable vehicle. And so far, time will tell, but so far, these vehicles seem to be quite reliable. Not a lot of issues with any of these. Now, the beauty with any BMWs, and the 2 Series are no different, is the quality of fit and finish. You can get a host of different colors. You get white, you got a white exterior with a beautiful red interior. You get all kinds of different color combinations. But of course, in BMW fashion, everything is such high quality. Soft touch materials, high quality plastics. Everything's really, really well made. And that's just not including the products that are wrapped in leather, of course, like seats and door panels. These are in line with every other BMW product and are of very high quality. Now, if you want to stay away from high performance cars that lack reliability, stay away from the M version. I mean, if you want to go fast and speed is your game, you get the M version of this car. That would be a lot of fun, but don't expect the same level of reliability that you're going to get from the little 230i. And so my third choice actually goes to the tried and true 3 Series BMWs, which have been around a long time. Now, it should be noted, very soon there will be a brand new 3 Series car released. But this is a 2018, and we're talking about that right now. So they can be had in many variations, different motor setups. You can get 320s, 328s, 330s, 340s, a lot of different options up to and including 2018. But in 2018, we'll give you the engine configurations, and it goes like this. Now, generally as a rule, the cheaper the car, the lower end, usually the more practical and the more reliable. So let's start with the 320, which features an inline 4 engine that produces about 184 horsepower. Then you move up to the 2-liter inline 4 with the twin scroll turbo in the 328 that produces about 240 horsepower, which really lights your day. That's the same engine in the X28i XDrive X1 that we just discussed. So that's another option. And then of course you talk about the big brother. We are talking now about the 340 right here, which is the old, replaced essentially the 335. The old 335 is come and gone now, and now it's replaced by the 340, as you see right here. Of course, the 340 has 335 horsepower now, and is really the next best thing to an M car without the M car levels of, impracticality or lacking in reliability. Of course, the M cars you only get on the M3s, you can only get in 2-wheel drive. The beauty here with the 340 is you can have the 340, you can have very high levels of performance with 335 horsepower in the 340, but you can have all the nice touches. This one's equipped very nicely with this beautiful wrapped exhaust, Aquapovic exhaust. Of course, you've got a rear splitter, some really nice features. You've got the side splitter here and performance, obviously M package on this car, but you can have all this and have a car that's all-wheel drive and great use for the wintertime. So the 340 represents the best performance bargain and still maintaining some level of reliability and of course functionality, because now you can use this car in the wintertime as well when you've got snowy roads, poor driving conditions. You can really use it any day of the year. So again, as usual, typical BMW, you can find a lot of different options. High quality finishing as you would expect. And since it's a 3 Series, it's sort of middle of the road because you've got the 1, 2, 3 Series cars, you go 4, 5, and the list goes on, 6, 7, of course, and now there's an 8 as well. So really this is kind of lower to mid-level as far as the BMW lineups go, but it also gives you some of the executive feel to it. That being said, it is a smaller car. It's not going to feel quite the same as a 5 Series, but it still has some of the high quality features and elements like the leather, the soft touch plastics. A lot of the same electronic features are featured in these cars versus the cars you might find in some of the 5 Series versions. Great value and relatively high levels of practicality, and they are quite reliable. So far anyway, time will tell. And then my next choice goes to the 5 Series. That's the 4th best, most reliable BMW today that you can get. Now it's come a long way since the Bengal era, the E60s. Those cars were not known for reliability. Then we moved into the F10 generation, which was vastly improved, but still a work in progress. Now we're finally into the G30 chassis right here in a 2018, and it has come a long ways, both in styling as well as reliability. So we've got a couple options that I would promote. The 550 generally I would stay away from. High performance, turbocharged V8 and the 4.4, I would dodge away from that, as well as the M5, because they are obviously big dollar cars, big performance, lots of stress and strain on the engine. Generally a lot more cost involved in maintaining that. But there's 2 cars that stand out in my mind. One of them is the B48 engine. It's the 2-liter inline 4 that is featured in this car here. It is the 530. The 530 is a great machine. That's the turbo inline 4. Now this car is not going to light your day. It's not going to be a rocket ship, but what it is going to do is commute you and your family or your friends or your executive partners very, very comfortably. You have the upscale look, the upscale finish and interior styling, but without paying the full cash. You don't want to spend the big bucks. This is a great way to enter into the 5 Series brand, into the executive saloon. You've got that with this. Very, very reliable drivetrain in this car. Yes, you've added some extra additional electronics. So as a rule, it's not going to be as reliable as the 3 Series as a rule because of additional electronic features, but the drivetrain is the same. So it's the same engine that comes out of the 3 Series, which is already known to be very, very reliable. So this here is my first choice for most reliable 5 Series cars. And these actually start around 63,000 bucks, which is a relative bargain when you look at some of the other options. Now, a lot of the domestic products, as well as a lot of the Japanese cars, are coming up in value. They still don't match the BMW quality of fit and finish, and therefore this is a very, very good purchase in the sense of, you know, practicality, reliability, and actually value for your dollar for a premium luxury sedan. And where the 530 has 248 horsepower, we are now looking at the 540, which is my second choice. This one is a better compromise for again, performance slash reliability. Here is the 540, which is the inline 6 twin scroll engine that produces 335 horsepower. Far more power, but similar levels of performance and reliability, all wrapped into one beautiful package. Of course, premium upscale finishing on both the exterior and interior. You've got lots of nice design touches, great wheel packages. Again, you've got those beautiful LED headlights that just are spectacular. Typical kidney grills found on these cars as well. Overall, what an amazing machine and great value as well. So these cars are featured both with the 8-speed ZF auto transmission or a 6-speed manual. For those that like to roll their gears, they like to shift through the gears, you can get the 6-speed manual. Like I said, for the sporting experience, you may look at the manual. I know in Europe that's more popular. In North America, people generally like to go with the autos. Either way, there's options. Great car. We've got the all-wheel drive setup here. 540 makes it for performance. Nice touches. Look at the exhaust bits on there as well. What a beautiful machine. Great value, great performance. So everybody, I really hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to share with you some of the most reliable 2018 BMWs available on the market today. And of course, if performance is what you're after, we've got other lists for that. But for now, make sure you give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you know when the next great video is coming out at you. We'll love to see you on the next one. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.